justify being called affordable housing for the neighborhood? That's,
Did this sell for 410,000?
no, it's just, this is all,
Okay.
the best I could find. Yeah, and admittedly, quite a few of my values are guesstimates. I contacted Water Power and I contacted a person who installs septic systems. But the question we've had is, how will this end up being affordable housing for this area? Thank you.
Can you turn the microphone on? I can't hear the folks in the center. Your microphone's on.
You can't hear these folks, the applicants?
On your speaker.
Is that microphone on?
What's a red light?
It is not.
Hello? Is it on now?
Okay, yes.
Yeah, you have to hold that one a little closer.
Is just the front speakers working? Because I think the back speakers really are amplifying it all.
You may have to move to the front if the speakers in the back aren't working.
Anyone else from the public like to comment on this?
My name is Kim Haas. I own the property at 18347 Road 26, which is the parcel directly south of this proposed subdivision. One of my questions is, can Road 26 support the amount of traffic that'll come with a subdivision? It's a gravel road in a rural area. It was zoned, our property is zoned agriculture for a reason. And also that driveway, or the road, I'm sorry, the proposed location of the road is at the bottom of a dip with a driveway for 18506 right across the street, and that's a dangerous driveway. And you put a road there, it's gonna become more of a safety hazard. And aside from the road and safety concerns that I have, I don't think that the county should continue to allow subdivision after subdivision in rural areas. Otherwise, we're gonna end up with one big suburbia. The rural charm is gonna be lost. It's already starting to go. I propose that the Joneses subdivide their 40 acres on Road L in Mancus. There is already Hawks and Saddle Ridge subdivisions nearby that consist of modular homes. Why change the landscape on Road 26? And especially after I read reviews online about the quality of the Joneses' work. Thank you.
My name is Mark Christensen. I own the property 18347 Road 26 with my wife Kim Haas. Just a little background. When working with Empire Electric to get power to this property for our future home, I had multiple communications with Melody Kramer, engineering technician. On Thursday, April 28th, I received a phone call from Melody at Empire Electric stating she had met with Mr. Jones and talked with him about an easement on Road 26 property. Melody stated that he wanted me to know that he gave the verbal okay because of what they are trying to do. As of Monday, we are still waiting for the signature. It seems to me that they're waiting for this meeting to see if they get any opposition. After reading the Montezuma County Land Use Code, I have a few questions. 1, Chapter 1, Threshold Standards. Standards are not to cause a significant reduction in neighborhood property values. How will manufactured homes not bring down the value of all the stick-built homes in the neighborhood as the majority exists now? Chapter 3, under the objectives, it states Section D, predictability concerning property values. I purchased the adjoining property with the intent to remain agriculture after building a home. How does a manufactured subdivision fit in with this and the surrounding subdivision? Chapter 5, will the applicant's landowners be building a bridge where the proposed road will be? Because it doesn't look like it's going to work very well the way it is. Because I know what the driveway we put in, and we had to put in a 3-foot culvert, and this is a lot. And chapter 5 also, 5101.4, who will enforce the installation of proper fencing to adjoining agricultural land, which would be the property that I have. I was told that they could have 2 trailers, manufactured homes per lot, which would be 20. How many cars is that gonna be? You could easily have up to 100 people living there on 35 acres if they pile in that many. Please address these questions with the Joneses. Thank you.
Did Road and Bridge comment on this road?
No.
My name is Kathy Hooper. I live at 18506 Road 26, and I am in direct intersection with the road that's to be built. You know, every homeowner takes a very special in selecting their home and the location that surrounds it. So I researched some factors that buyers look for the most when buying a home. And the first factor is, of course, no surprise, is location. We happen to live in Montezuma County, where it offers you beautiful agricultural land and mountains, beautiful sunsets, and abundant wildlife that passes by. Another factor is that the neighbors in the surrounding subdivisions have built stick homes. They comply to their covenants, which prevents unsightly building and storage containers. And most of the private owners seem to follow the same standards. Wes and Rebecca Jones owns 35-plus acres off of Road 26 and are proposing a 10-lot major subdivision rezoning application that will allow manufactured homes with affordable housing options. They own a manufactured home business and will most likely put them on the 10 lots with spaces for 10 more. They can literally bring anything in because there are no restrictions on manufactured homes. They could even place pre-1976 manufactured homes on lots which are known to cause electrical fires and do not meet HUD standards. The manufactured home development is not compatible with the adjacent existing developments in this area. I also believe that this is a negative development will not only depreciate our home values, but will have a negative impact on most of the 60-plus landowners that live near. My husband and I oppose this proposal going forward. Thank you.
The covenants did state every home in there would be new.
Correct.
Okay.
Would be what?
Anyone else?
Mike, what'd you say? Would be what?
She was saying about 1976.
Right, but what
Their
it,
covenant stated every home that went in there would be new.
okay.
I've got some public comments to read if everybody's done.
Looks like it.
Real quick, Don, in the covenants, does it state anything about a secondary living quarters, a restriction on the secondary living quarters?
The current draft does not.
Okay.
That could be changed.
Okay.
This letter is from Jeff and Marie Morgan, 1368 West Monty Avenue, Mesa, Arizona. I and my wife Marie own Lot 5 in Stoddard Estates subdivision. We intend to build a new home and retire there in the near future. We chose Montezuma County because of the beautiful scenery and high quality of life. The covenants we agreed to in the subdivision are not onerous. They simply limit the type and size of home that can be built to ensure that there's a uniform standard for all residents. Similar covenants are in effect for nearby subdivisions. which limit construction to stick-built or modular homes and a minimum size of the dwelling. I'm a proponent for growth, provided it maintains the quality of life and property values for existing residences and property owners. To this end, consistent zoning aids in preserving both, while inconsistent zoning can negatively impact all residences. As a property owner directly impacted by development on this parcel, I urge the board to require the property owner, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, to adopt covenants for said subdivision that are consistent with surrounding homes and parcels before approving the pending request for development. By such, I refer to limiting the type of dwelling to either stick-built or modular, either which can be funded by conventional loans. I thank you for your consideration. Urge the board to adopt these requirements prior to approving the proposal to develop parcel yada yada yada. This one is from Lynette Nadal at 18523 Road 26. We have the adjoining 36 plus acres. By allowing manufactured homes and affordable housing options, will devalue our parcel of land and others surrounding us. We chose this parcel for its quiet, minimally spaced homes around us. This is to be our retirement home. I will have to put up larger fences, security system, etc. This all comes at a greater cost to us, not to mention our safety. I will not allow access on my easement and driveway. This was to be a secluded area, and now I feel it jeopardizes my safety, my property value, my peace of mind. We are completely against this development. Please stop this from further development. One of my other big concerns is the effect on wildlife. There's an entire family of gorgeous deer, along with a mountain lion, one bear, and lots of birds. We don't want illegal hunting or trespassing, and we've already had trouble with both issues. This is from, oh, I read that one, sorry. There is one more. This is from Seward Haas at 16832 Highway 145. To whom it may concern, I will be unable to attend the P&Z meeting on Thursday, May 12, 2022 due to the age and health issues. However, I'd like to voice some anxieties I have regarding the rezoning request submitted by Wes and Rebecca Jones for the property located at TBD Road 26 parcel. I am not against anyone becoming a homeowner, although we don't know the intention of the applicants for this subdivision, i.e. will the lots be rented or sold? Will the homes be rented or sold? Or rented or owned? Additionally, with only minimum county covenants, there is a likelihood of this subdivision negatively affecting the surrounding homes. I would also question the ability of low-income individuals to sufficiently maintain their homes and property. One only needs to look at larger cities in the U.S. Our home values will depreciate, taxes will decrease, and in some cases may result in empty houses, which would cause a burden on Montezuma County. The Land Use Code states any rezoning should not affect the value of neighboring homes, including the multi-generational one my daughter and son-in-law intend to build for their family, including myself, at 18347 Road 26. Thank you for listening to my concerns, sharing them with P&Z Committee.
I do have a question for you. Are the homes going to be rented or sold? Sold. Okay.
Any more correspondence? Is that it?
I don't believe so.
Anyone else from the public like to comment? All right, we'll bring it back to the commission. Any further discussion?
I would like to comment. I'm a real estate broker in Cortez, Montezuma, Dolores counties. There are subdivisions within the town of the city of Cortez, namely one down The Bluff subdivision is a mixture of stick-built and modular homes. It's a very nice subdivision. I don't think values have been impacted by the fact that the modular homes are there. It depends a lot on how well the properties are kept up and the landscaping and such are taken care of. But there's a prime example of mixed-use housing in Cortez. And modulars are allowed in Cortez with certain stipulations, so, within residential zones.
Wes, can you comment on the affordable housing aspect of it?
There's no land out there to be able to place manufactured homes on. You know, we're just trying to make it so that, you know, people that can't afford a $700,000 house or $500,000 site-built house can own a piece of Montezuma County. You know, these HUD units are built way different than they used to be back in the day. You know, I live in one myself. It's, you know, I've sold a lot of them to a lot of good people. You know, they're just not mortgage poor. You know, they can, you know, afford to do other things, and that's what we're trying to accomplish, is just to have property that we can put manufactured homes in, so that the people that don't make a lot of money can afford to live and have a piece of their own. And I haven't restricted and set a lot of covenants on this subdivision, because I don't have anybody telling me what to do on my property. You know, I understand you want a minimal so that people will have an upkeep so that they can take care of their stuff, you know, and most homeowners get that. People that are, the way that the economy's gone to this point, I mean, you're going to spend anywhere between $270,000 and up. Anybody that's going to spend that kind of money isn't going to want their place to look like a trailer park.
What price range do you think your properties are in?
I don't know. I'm really hoping I'm going to be in the 80s per lot. But all that's going to depend on what it's going to cost me to get the infrastructure in. I'm doing all the infrastructure myself. We own all of our own equipment. We're going to try, it's all going to boil down to what Empire's going to charge us and what the infrastructure is going to cost.
Your electric's gonna be underground?
Yes, sir.
You're not-
And where this road's at, we just drew this to get through this. If this goes where the way that we like it to, then we're gonna get it all surveyed, and more than likely it's gonna change, because there's, you know, the first two lots to enter that subdivision, the land slopes really bad. So those are probably not even gonna be anything. So more than likely the road, you know, things are gonna have to change, because there is that drainage ditch there.
Is it a consideration to increase each lot size and reduce the entire thing by 2 lots then? If those first 2 are not usable?
Yeah, well, we've discussed that, especially with the, you know, CDOT's recommendation for, you know, coming at us, but which we didn't get. We just got it at 5 o'clock tonight, so I mean, we haven't had a chance to go over anything. So we're gonna get with CDOT, and then we'll, you know, but I'm not opposed to downsizing. We're trying to do this so that people have a place to put a house. That's all it
And you're not selling any lots without selling a home on it.
Correct.
No further discussion, I would entertain a motion.
Real quick, my only other concern is in the covenants. I understand the not putting a whole bunch of covenants on land, right? Nobody likes anybody telling you what to do on your own property.
Right.
The concern for me is having the up to 2, living quarters on
Yeah.
a single lot. It may be worth considering putting that in a covenant to keep
Yeah, no,
to minimize that
I'm
to
fine with,
1.
I'm fine with changing that down to 1. I don't have a problem with that at all. Or even putting in where you could have an ADU, that wouldn't be over 400 square feet. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just so that you couldn't have 2 full-blown residences on one piece of property. And I'm totally fine with that.
So a residence and an outbuilding, basically.
Yeah, accessory dwelling unit, like mother-in-law quarter or something, but make it so it couldn't be over a certain amount of square footage,
Yeah.
But I'm no developer, I'm all new to this, so, we're just, yeah, trying to get our feet wet.
Well, I would make a motion to approve, or to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve the proposed 10-lot major subdivision rezoning application submitted by Wes and Rebecca Jones. Based on the following, the proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on property in the area. And public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. My conditions would be to add the restriction in the covenants to single dwelling on each lot. And then consider, if you're not gonna be able to use those first 2 lots, consider increasing the lot size so that you don't have just 2 empty units there.
I'll second that, and the conditions also that tri-state, that your owners are aware of that tri-state easement.
Any further discussion? Call the vote.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion carried. Vote was unanimous. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Commissioner Russell,
Here.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez.
All right, number 2, notice is hereby given that the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for review and determination of a proposed amendment to the Durson Subdivision and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by David Brandos on property located at 20865 Road 23.75, Lewis, Colorado, consisting of 17.83 acres, more or less, located south of Road X, east of Road 23, situated in Section 33, Township 38 North, Range 16 West, Mexico Pine Meridian. Is the public hearing, was the public notice published?
Yes.
Evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors submitted,
Yes.
and the sign was posted.
Yes, it was.
The applicants like to come up, please. Perfect.
I do, thank you. I'll grab that.
Any planning department findings?
So the proposal is to basically re-subdivide this lot back to how it was before. It was roughly 7 acres and an 11-acre parcel. But because it was joined as one, it's being split back apart. Access is off of the Red Sign Road 23.75. Empire Electric can get power to the property. Montezuma Water has service to the down road 23.75. So the water is available. Let me see here. Wildfire Adapted recommends a mitigation plan for the property based on the fuel loading, and the county weed manager recommends a waiver on a weed plan. That's basically it.
Would you like to add anything to that?
There is an approved septic already in place on the proposed lot. The new lot lines are slightly different than the original, and that's to accommodate some outbuildings that were built by the prior owner. Electrical box is on the proposed lot already and active.
Is this that we're looking at actual or proposed?
It's proposed because it has to be redone. We still need to do a survey.
Is there an easement in place across the 11.34 acre lot to get to the 6.49 acre lot?
Yes, there is. It runs on the north side of the small lake.
Okay.
And there's a utility easement that's 60 feet from the lot line.
All right, any planning commission discussion?
No, I'm good.
We'll open it up to public comment. Would anyone from the public like to comment? All right, we'll bring it back to the commission. If there's no further discussion, and entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to the commissioners to approve the proposed amendment to the
Duerson.
subdivision and AR 329 rezoning application submitted by David Brandos based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other properties in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
Second.
No conditions?
John, any conditions?
No. You did some places. That was my own question.
Okay, yeah. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? We'll call the vote, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion carried. Vote was unanimous. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Here.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
All right, number 3, notice is hereby given the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a 2-lot minor subdivision application submitted by Peter Magelnicki on property located at 43175 Road N, Mancos, Colorado. consisting of 32.37 acres, more or less, located west of Road 42, situated in Section 2, Township 36 North, Range 13 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. As a public hearing, was the public notice published?
Yes, it was.
There was evidence of letters the adjoining neighbors submitted,
Yes, it was.
and the sign was posted.
Yes, it was.
All right, would the applicant like to come up, please?
He's on Zoom.
I am here, Commissioners.
Can you hear him?
Hello, yep.
This is Peter Magalnicki. I live in Virginia, so thank you for the flexibility to let me attend virtually.
You bet. Would you like to add anything to the, well, we did do the planning department findings, yeah.
got there yet.
Nothing to add. I mean, if you have any questions, I can answer any questions. It's a minor subdivision. The property is currently divided by a unmaintained county road.
That's a red sign road.
It is Red Sign Road N that extends east past Road 42, but it is not county maintained road. So he's just looking to use that as the natural divider between the north and south.
There's neighbors, other people that use that road to access their property.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
As far as any other findings, like I said, access is off of Red Sign Road N. Empire Electric says that they have a small conductor from their Mancos substation. That's approximately 4.5 miles away. No rural water, so it would have to be served by a cistern, which the existing residence is currently the same condition. Property has 2 septic permits, number 2019 and 3701. Fire mitigation or wildfire adaptive recommends a fire mitigation plan due to the nature of the terrain and the foliage there. The weed manager recommends a weed waiver for that. Obviously not in a floodplain. That's basically it, just a 2-lot minor splitting the property in half.
Are the septic permits one per lot? Are they?
I believe they're both on the same lot. One's an old one, and then there was a replacement.
So they'd have to get another.
Yeah, for the south lot, you would have to have all utilities put in.
Okay, Peter has nothing to add to that. Any,
I can answer any questions if anyone has any questions about, this is my family land, just looking to split it in half.
all right. Any further planning commission discussion? Would anyone from the public like to comment on this? All right, seeing none, we will bring it back to the commission, and if there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners.
There was a remote letter sent into the commission sometime in the last couple of days.
My apologies, I believe you are correct.
There's a public comment through email.
The department received a letter.
Do you have a copy of that letter? No, I don't. Okay, might be quicker. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not finding a letter or a file folder for comments. So we don't have an official public comment?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we're back to motion.
All right. I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of County Commissioners to approve a two-lot minor subdivision application submitted by Peter Maglanecki, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. And I don't have any conditions.
Second.
All right, seconded by Commissioner Pierce. Any further discussion?
No.
We'll call the vote, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Bet. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce,
Here.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
All right, number 4, notice is hereby given, the Montezuma County Plan and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed subdivision amendment and AR 10-34 rezoning application for lot number 5 of Rolf's Ranches subdivision submitted by Judy and Paul Mead on property located at 25408 Road S.6, Dolores, Colorado, consisting of 36.19 acres, more or less, located south of Highway 184, east of Road 25, situated in Section 23, Township 37 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, it was.
And was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors submitted?
Yes.
And the sign was posted.
Yes, it was.
Would the applicants like to come up, please? And,
This is Crystal, Mrs. Mead's daughter.
Yeah, I was gonna say for the record, I'm Crystal Clarisi, Judy Mead's daughter, Paul Mead's stepdaughter.
Her son, Judy Mead's son. So we're here on their behalf because they don't live here in the state.
okay. Any planning department findings?
So they are proposing to split off roughly 10 acres and with the balance of 26 acres left with the existing residents. There is a mobile home on the, I guess between S.6 and S.7, so all utilities are already in place. I don't know if they're planning on replacing the mobile or not. Power for more utilities there may have to require an upgrade. There is a septic system on record for both residences. Wildfire Adaptive recommends a fire mitigation plan. Weed does not require a weed plan. And so far, just looking at the minimum covenants. And CDOT's got nothing on this one.
Would you like to add anything to that?
No, sir.
All right, any planning commission discussion?
I guess access is not gonna be an issue.
Doesn't look like it.
All the roads in there. No, I'm okay.
All right, we'll open this to public comment. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the commission if there's,
How is this split?
Right here in the northeast corner.
Scan Stan, it's up here.
On the mobiles, yeah, in there.
It's not in our packet. It's up here.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's,
Oh, well, then you gotta guess.
See, I didn't get that one.
Look at the TV.
That's it, basically.
There
it
you go.
is.
right here, Stan, right there.
And there's a mobile here right off of S.6.
Okay. All right.
I don't have anything else.
Okay, I'll make a motion to recommend the Board of County Commissioners to approve proposed subdivision amendment and AR 1034 rezoning application for lot 5 of Dolores Ranches subdivision submitted by Judy and Paul Mead based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts to other properties in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support use consistent with the proposed zoning.
Second.
All right. Seconded by Commissioner Pierce. Any discussion on the motion?
No.
All right, we'll call the vote, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion carried, vote was unanimous. Good luck. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Here.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye. Here.
Commissioner Hernandez.
All right, number 5, notice is hereby given, the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed general planned unit development and AR 10-34 rezoning application submitted by Edward and Beth Lewis on property located at 13301 Road 35.9, Mancos, Colorado, consisting of 13.54 acres, more or less, located south of Highway 184, west of Road 35.9, situated in Section 4, Township 36 North, Range 14 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, it was.
Was evidence that letters to the adjoining neighbors submitted?
Yes.
And the sign was posted.
Yes, sir.
The applicants like to come up? Yeah, you gotta come up too, Wade. All right, planning department findings.
The applicants currently have, well, I guess we'll start back before that. They have had in the past 3 residences on the property. Up until about a year or 2 ago, the property, or the mobile on the south was removed. So now they are anticipating to put another mobile back in that location, so we let them know that they would have to be permitted for 3 residences, which is the PUD application. So that's what they're applying for now, to be compliant with the land use code. The utilities are to the property. They are to this new location. Water comes through a cistern. The septic systems for that location, there would have to be an inspection for the existing septic or a new septic system installed.
Yeah. And that
What?
sort of thing is allowed in that subdivision.
Yeah, Summit Lake West Unit 2 does not have any covenants. Unit 1 does have covenants. They there are some letters of effect that some of the lots, of Unit 2 started to follow the covenants of Unit 1, but they never did actually record any. Wildfire Adaptive recommends a fire mitigation plan based on the fuel loading, and the weed manager recommends a waiver for a weed plan. That's about it.
Okay.
CDOT was confused on where the PUD was, so it's basically the one more residence to have 3 on the property instead of 2 allowed by the land use code, so.
All right. You guys like to add anything to that?
No, it's just a place to put my son for him to live there.
Okay,
No subdivision, no nothing like that, it's just same property.
all right, okay.
And there was a unit already there, you said, that was removed and then putting a different one in? Okay.
The electric's been upgraded. It will be septic's already there, but if it has to be inspected, that's fine.
Yep.
If it needs some modification, we can do that too.
Was the one that was there permitted?
I have no idea.
Do you know?
Health Department doesn't have any record on any septic permits. When I moved out there, I put in my own septic system and nobody ever said put in a permit for anything. So I put on my own septic in, built my own house, and nobody inspected it. I was kinda curious why you couldn't do what you wanted when it was already there. Somebody didn't like it, I guess.
But the new modular will, or the new, mobile will have its own septic system and permit.
Anything else from the commission? Anything else?
Aye.
All right, we'll open up the public comment. Would anybody from the public like to comment? Come up, please, sir.
Evening, my name is Don Harwood. I live at 13296 Road 35.6.
It's on, you just gotta talk closer.
He's got it now.
Talk a little louder?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you could state that again, please, sir.
I'm not used to fancy stuff. My name is Don Harwood. I live at 13296 Road 35.6. My original little talk was gonna be a little bit longer than this, but what I'm passing along is a plot map that I have of all the neighbors within roughly a mile of the Lewis's place that do not agree with this. And I wanna say, I'm gonna hit this a little bit different than normal because I'm cutting things down, but I think it's kind of a little scam. Last week, I saw them putting their new residence on. I came in, I called Mr. Haley there, and I said, the Lewises are dropping their trailer. I left a message on his phone, and I thought I better go to town to talk to him. So I went to talk to him, I introduced myself, and I said, did you get my message? And he said, yes, I did, but I didn't answer you. He said, oh, you'll know when I talk to you. I went, okay, let's see how this goes from here. So I told him it was being dropped, and I said, how can that be done? And he said, the Lewis's permit is approved. I said, how can it be approved? He said, it's been approved, the health department's supposed to come this week to check on the septic they put in and approve it. And he said, they can't hook up until they approve it, but it's been approved. I said, specifically, how can the application be approved before the public meeting? And I showed him this parcel map where majority of the people don't want it. And he didn't say anything. He just said it was approved. Then he said, because they had a third residence there, which you'll see a picture of their trailer that they're talking about, they're replacing the one with the roof ripped open, the doors and windows off, the insulation hanging out of it. He said because they already had that, they could have a third residence. I said, how? I said, is not in our deeds to have a third residence. I don't know how it got there. And I said, if it was legit, if it was legal to begin with, they wouldn't be applying for this zoning and development application. It would have all been approved and everything had been fine. But now they're applying for it. Why do they have to apply for it? Because it wasn't approved before. Why is the county making them approve it? Because it wasn't approved before. So, my little talk was a little bit longer, it was about 6 minutes, so excuse me while I cut this down a little bit. I told him about the trailer, I told him I'd bring a picture. I mentioned the 1996 County Commissioner's decision that said any lot in our subdivision changes had to be agreed by all landowners, and his answer to that was, don't give me that old crap. I go by the Montezuma County
That's your 3
land use
minutes,
code.
sir.
Excuse me?
That's your 3 minutes, is that,
Seriously?
seriously?
It is a shame.
I will be brief. My name is Mike Just, and I'm at 13626 Road 35.6. And I am handing out to the members a decision that was made by the county board back, I think, in the early 1990s that said specifically for this Unit 2 subdivision, this specific subdivision, when someone wanted to do the identical thing, they wanted to take a 53-acre parcel and divide it up into 3 lots, and the county board determined that under those circumstances, the subdividing owner would need to obtain the written consent of all landowners within the subdivision and bring the road up to county specs. This is not, this is a red road. And I think that's consistent with the land use code, which states that permit applications that violate properly recorded subdivision or planned unit development covenants shall not be approved without the signatory consent of all lot owners within the subdivision. I also question whether or not there are covenants that apply. I'm looking here at 3 deeds. And what it says in these deeds is said conveyance. This is from the Gentrys to Summit Lake West, the development company, are subject to the following protective conveyances agreed to by second parties. Said property shall be used for one-family residences only. So we do think this is covenanted, and we went so far last year as to get a boundary adjustment, which cost us a lot of money in legal fees and properties in order to avoid any further subdivision. With all due respect to the Lewises, and I realize I'm running out of time, there have been some illegal subdivisions of property, but that does not make any subsequent subdivision legal, any more than if I were to commit a violent act like bank robbery would, and I got away with it, would allow bank robbery to be legal for anyone subsequently. I'll just finish up by saying, and I realize I'm running out of time, so I'll speak quick. I think it's well-settled law that a subsequent Board of Commissioners does not have power to review the discretionary acts of a former board, which means that the board, the county board, would be bound by that decision that I handed you. And there's an old case, and I think that's also enshrined in the Colorado State Constitution. I do not believe there's anything in the land use code that would void this board's prior decision. Finally, the zoning application, I think, is fatally defective because under number 3, where it says requested zoning, it's left blank. So we're really left to wonder what exactly is going to happen to this property. So we think that the notice is deficient, or I think that the notice is deficient. But more importantly, substantively, I think that that prior decision by the board binds the board. There's nothing in the ordinance that would prevent, that would overrule that decision. And I'll be finished. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Don, why is the requested zoning left blank? Because it's
They're not
PUD?
changing their zoning?
They're just requesting a PUD?
Correct. And these lots in Summit Lake West Unit 2 have been subdivided every way possible from exemptions to subdivisions.
Anyone else from the public like to comment?
Yes, sir. My name is Roy Gilhouse, and I live 35561 County Road P.2 Loop. And you're going to hear various people talk about and debate about noise, light, pollution, traffic when you start making more dense areas. However, there's no debate about water. Water supply is a physical aspect. This right here is showing what we have right now. We have Highway 184, County Road 34.7 coming down here. Water line connects to County Road P.2 Loop around the south side of Hewitt Reservoir. This is a 4-inch line. It joins up with 3-inch lines that Summit Water had originally put in when Summit Lake West Unit 1, where there's a lot of houses very close together, and Unit 2 down here where there are 40-acre lots. These had, at that time, 3-inch lines put in. The idea being that with a 40-acre lot and one house, this was all that was required. Down at the very end, down here, Road N goes out to a dead-end main, which is only 2 inches. You're going to hear from some other folks who live out there on Road N, east of 35-9, because they're at the tail end. You've all seen pictures, perhaps, of large fires, and there's all sorts of hose streams that are falling down onto that fire in a big arc. But the caption in a newspaper always says, firefighters were hampered by lack of pressure. No, it wasn't pressure. It was lack of water, volume. Okay, they had the engines with the pumps on them, but there's not enough water to supply them. It's just the same as the Colorado River is being fed from the headwaters up here, but it doesn't make it to the Gulf of California anymore. There's just too much demand. So what we're talking about then in terms of how do you supply demand out to the far reaches is pipe size. And that's why I bring up about the 4-inch connecting to the 3 inches. They help give a loop system so water can be delivered 2 ways, but you have that 2-inch down there with 8 residences just beyond the Lewises. So this was all designed and balanced from the standpoint they could get away with the 3 inches because they hadn't subdivided, because it was 40-acre lots. Now, there has been a subdivision already, and then additional households put on. By the way, I also have a picture here of that one trailer that's being talked about as having been replaced. That thing was a shambles years and years ago. It wasn't just 1 or 2 years now.
All right, sir, your time's up.
Excuse me?
Your time's up, sir.
Okay.
Thank
I'll
you.
be back. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else from the public like to comment?
Hi, my name is Lisa Gower, and I'm at 36079 Road N. So we're on that dead-end water line, and we're the ones he was referring to, that we have very low water pressure, below what we're supposed to have, and we are actually talking to Montezuma Water about that. So that is also one of our biggest concerns, and I want to ask a question. If I don't use my whole 3 minutes, can I yield my time back to Roy? They won't let me do that, I'm sorry. But basically, I wanted to talk about that because it will affect us. And I know they said they have a cistern. What he was just starting to say is we saw the water line go in. So, and what Don started to say, the trailer's already there. The trailer's been set, it's been hooked up, the skirting has been put on, everything's there. And in fact, we saw them moving things into the trailer today. So we're feeling like we were left out of the process. The hearings today, we were all prepared to have our say, but the trailer's already there, and for the record, it's not where the old trailer was. It's been placed in a different location. So I don't know how that works with the septic, but it is in a different place. Our concern about the cistern is, where are they gonna fill it from? They have 2 water taps on that property, and apparently we think they're going to be filling the cistern from the water taps. That's gonna affect us, and probably profoundly, because our water pressure's already subpar. So I know that a lot of these things happened in the past. I'm not sure if things were subdivided properly. I haven't been able to find that out. I don't know if the trailers were there legally or not. I'm pretty sure this one isn't quite legal because the process hasn't been completed. But this is not a great precedent to set. This entire subdivision, at least our portion of it, is 35 40-acre parcels with 1 single-family residence. Maybe a little guest house that you can have people come and stay in. People have garages, they have sheds, whatever. We do not have multiple residences, and I think the water situation actually shows that that was never the intention. And you drive around our neighborhood and you will see single-family homes with little outbuildings, and that's it. That's what we purchased, that's what we wanted. To have a whole bunch of trailers set in the middle of a lot, in the middle of our subdivision, is the antithesis of what we were looking for. And the bottom line for us is, I think that having, and again, I don't know what they're gonna do in the future, but having a whole bunch of residences on one really small lot that was subdivided in the past somehow is not conducive to what we were looking for in this neighborhood, and what I think most of our neighbors want. So, you have any questions? All right, thank you.
My name is Cheryl McMillan, and I live at 13124 Road 359. And certainly appreciate this fine forum that we're able to talk about. And I disagree about the covenants. I see covenants on my deed. They don't amount to what the Unit 1 of Summit Lake has. But it does state that there will be no single wide mobiles. The only thing allowed would be modulars and double wides. And I have a question about the water, because I just wonder why they would be utilizing a cistern for water. Because I see on the code, the land use code, it states there that basically it says that if there's water available to the property, a cistern would not be allowed. That cisterns are only allowed in the event that a potable water supply is not otherwise available. So is that deemed there's water there? So I don't understand utilizing a cistern in that area. And of course, you just heard about the fire situation, and that's a huge concern for me about a fire in that area, that a fire control agency prior to construction will verify the water source use in case of fire. And they've had 2 fires on their property that I know of. The latest one was a boat that was burning up. And the roads have not been 100% adopted by the county. They are insufficient and dangerous. And it is unfair that a large responsibility of them still falls on a few willing residents Why is it fair? I think with all this progress with the BLM situation that has been brought there a year or two ago, those roads are not, we should not have to pay for that. And the sanitation, I don't know about the septic. I just noticed that we talked about the prefab structure that needs to be in compliance with the state uniform code. I don't know if that's being upheld. And as far as the mobiles, as far as I know, they had the mobile near my property that sat there at least 8 years. It was abandoned and in a demolished condition. And as you've already been told, the roof was blowing in the wind, making noise, and then insulation was blowing and blowing on my property and down the road. When I called the environmental health department, they told me there was nothing they could do about it except to go over and ask them to do something about it. Evidently, there's no rules in effect for if you bring something on, you're just gonna leave it there. That old mobile could have been sitting there for 15 years as far as I know. I don't think they've ever had 3 different residentials in motorhomes. I think they've only had 2, and none of us know how that ever came about either.
Ma'am, your time's up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sean, is that correct that we say if there was water available, you cannot have a system?
I don't know, I'd have to check it.
I don't believe that.
I couldn't say.
Mm-hmm.
I did find a letter from Montezuma Water.
Yeah.
Evening. George Nelson. I'm a neighbor to the Lewises. I just barely met Mr. Lewis last week. I stopped in and didn't get out because of the vicious dog they had. It's very disappointing when you own a piece of property. My address is 13381 Road 35.9, next door. I was fortunate enough to buy a piece of property 2 years ago. You already heard the trailer was not used at that time. It was already destroyed. There is another single wide that's on the front of their property right now. And some of the highlight points have been brought out about endangerment. I don't know if there's a rectifiable way to be able to assess what he needs. I know it's concerning his son and his son moving on there and wanting to put that mobile on there. But coming from another state 2 years ago when I purchased up here, the one important thing is that keeping the intact of the value of the properties and aspect of all your neighbors' investment. We do have a couple fights on hand. One of them is the roads, water, and other items that we've addressed and we've worked out, like for the garbage collection and stuff like that. Before, we would have to take it a half a mile down the road in a garbage can. What good does it do to pay somebody if you still got to carry it? So we worked out some stuff. We got garbage service coming right to the front now. But the one important factor is this. The roads are not maintained, the sign says, winter. I got in a beef with the road county foreman when I told him about the 1.5 inch sharp rocks that they put there before winter time and blowing out tires on the vehicles. And the response back came from that is that, well, maybe I not should do anything any better for anybody. And I said, I don't give a damn what you do. I'll take care of the road in front of my place if that's the way you feel about it. But I says, not everybody has 10 and 12 ply tires on their trucks. But long story short is, it's not wanted. It encompasses the investment that these other people have been there longer than me, and some a couple maybe a little later after me. And the whole idea is work a comparable way to find out how he's going to be able to do it. Now, we just talked about other subdivisions and stuff like that about old folks home, right? Mother-in-law, father-in-law, somebody sick and elderly. So do they plan on building a house? Is that what that trailer's for? Does it meet all the codes? Is all the codes of health organization in line? Even the other one that they have up front, you know, how did it originally get there? And I did read that when I bought the property. And the wife even asked me, well, how did they get a single wide in there? And It's pretty bad that they were already installing, making, putting, digging before we even got this from you guys.
That's the timeline.
That's how we found out about it.
Okay,
So,
your time's up, Mr. Nelson, sir.
you know, let's do the right
Thank
thing. Property isn't being made any longer, remember. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening. My name is Bill Gower, 36079 Road N. I just had a couple of things. I'm kind of vague on the planned use development or unit development. You know, does that entail we're putting in this trailer now and now we can add more to the property as well as a special use permit? I don't understand why we have both of these and there's no explanation as to, you know, all it says is no further development is planned. And then another thing I have is there was a driveway put in with no driveway permit. And I know they put in a septic system over the weekends, over 3 consecutive weekends. They actually put a septic system in before they set the trailer. I've got some pictures here of the trailer now that it's set with the skirting on to show that it has been set, as well as what was mentioned before, that they're already moving materials in this afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Is there a septic permit for this new unit?
No, there is not.
There's
not a permit application on file.
Okay. And no driveway permit?
That I did not hear back. Well, unfortunately, Virginia had a situation in the old database, and it only goes back to 2004, so I don't know about the other driveways. There's not been a new one pulled on the property since 2019, but that trailer in that southeast corner has been there since at least 2010, till it was removed 2 or 3 years ago, or last year, whichever.
Where did the PUD application come from as opposed to subdividing a 3-acre lot off of it?
There was never any plans to subdivide anything. He just wanted to, well, he was gonna buy a place to live, and he couldn't find any property he could afford. So, he asked if they could put a trailer there until he could afford something, and we see no problem with it. And as far as the driveway permit, whenever I filled out that application, I asked Jane, or whatever her name is, how I filled that out, because there was no county access, and according to our deed, it showed the property crossing that so-called road. I asked her, how do I go about filling that out as far as a driveway? And she said that there would be no driveway permit because it is on our property.
So, Don, how did this come to fruition?
So they came in looking for an address for that location because there was not one, and the mobile was en route.
Actually, there was an address, and that's.
Well, there is, I guess, an address there. I don't know when it was, let me look here, if I can find the date on it. So currently, the GIS map says TBD. Which means to be determined. Because it never went through the system, We don't have an actual address on there unless there was one from way back when. Like I said, there has been a unit there since, picture on the left's 2010. So the mobile's there, and that's the Empire Electric's line. I don't know where it's going to, but the picture on the right's 2019. And then this is imagery from last August. But anyway, so they came to the office, and we informed them that in order to have 3 residences on one parcel, you would have to either do a PUD or you'd have to subdivide. And they don't want to subdivide, so they requested an application for a PUD to have the 3 residences there along the front, and then the ag land for the rest of it. The special use permit is required by the land use code for a general planned unit development. So that's why there's a special use permit application as well. The zoning, it's ARES, and that's not being changed. It's still part of the subdivision.
So the trailer, the mobile that we're looking at in those pictures is the one that's there right now?
No,
No, it's not there.
it's currently a vacant, well, I don't know what it looks like this week, but so it was here, there in the corner.
What numbers, what year is that?
This is 2010 on the left,
Okay,
and this is 2019 on the right,
okay.
and this is August of 2021
Wait till it's gone.
at the bottom. And so they weren't aware of the land use code requirements there, so we informed them that if they put another unit on there, it'll be non-compliant property.
So it looks like it's there now? According to the pictures?
From
The
that.
pictures.
And they were told that if they needed to use their address 13301 to have it delivered, they could, because it was already on the way, but that they couldn't set it on a foundation, they couldn't hook up utilities. And that the septic system would have to be inspected and permitted.
So is this an after-the-fact issue that we're talking about?
That sounds like.
Based on those pictures, it might be.
I mean,
And any conversation I've had with anybody, the gentleman that came to the office, I told him if it's not approved, they'll have to take it off the property. I never have indicated it's been approved. It's gonna work, it's gonna fly, it's a done deal, so.
It is sitting there now.
Trailer house is sitting there now, but that picture is actually just my camper sitting there. The house didn't show up till just. Well, this one has nothing sitting there.
Stan, can I see those pictures?
What pictures are they?
Yeah, the pictures
Pictures.
of the
Photographs.
unit that's on right now.
No, he's got it.
So are they putting in a new septic system?
They did.
And Don, you said you told them that it could not be set before this, correct?
Not until it's approved.
Right.
He told them it couldn't be set on a foundation.
And services hooked up.
Yeah, and utilities hooked up.
Right. The utilities are not hooked up to it. And I don't think it's on a permanent foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the water hookup. If I may approach. See the balloon down on the bottom?
So I mean, nothing says it has to be on a permanent foundation. So isn't that vague in stating that it cannot be set? What does that mean?
That's just what we told them. They could have it delivered, but they would
Right.
have to finish going through the process to get it approved.
We were under the impression we could do it, we just couldn't move in or do any of that until this was done.
Also, the, people that delivered it, they
Yeah.
just took
Yeah.
charge and they had it put up.
And there's nothing in that house, my kids were probably going in and out of that house this afternoon, but other than that, there's nothing in that house.
If they've got something showing that, there was something taken in there, I'd like to see it because there's nothing in there.
And if there are CC&Rs, then we can't override CC&Rs.
Well, it's possible that the deeds have restrictions. When we checked before, previous 19 and 20, the clerk's office did not have a record of recorded covenants for Unit 2.
That would have been done through the state, though.
It has to be done through the state to be binding, and
Right.
other than what's on the deeds is also binding, but not as an overall encompassing subdivision covenant. I don't know what their specific deeds, for the people that spoke, obviously it's on their deeds.
Mhm. Well, I know Unit 1 has significant.
Correct.
I was gonna purchase property there.
And we did find letters from the 70s alluding to the fact of a certain, I don't know, 8, 9, 10, 15 lots that were referenced, but nobody followed through that we found for any recorded covenants with the county clerk's office through the state.
Do we enforce the covenants?
We don't enforce the covenants, we try to abide by them, but that all goes back to homeowners association. I mean, it's not a county matter, it's a civil matter.
Is there an HOA?
HOA, if there is one, or
And there's nothing from the state? You
Not-
haven't found
not
anything at the
that-
state level?
not that-
For Unit 2?
correct.
Okay.
For Unit 2?
Those are not the recorded covenants of the subdivision with the state. I don't know what everybody's deed says, that's all each deed's own item. Okay, we're not gonna just keep hollering out from the crowd. We do not enforce the deeds. That's a civil matter. If you have an issue, this county is not responsible to enforce each person's deed.
Have you heard? I respectfully disagree. I believe that the land use code contemplates that any protective covenants that apply will be considered in the Planning and Zoning Commission's decision. So I respectfully disagree with that position, and I can actually take a look and see if I have a citation to that. I will also say that in 2020, when someone else tried to do a planned unit development, the Lewises in writing opposed it. Now they want to do one. Thank you.
We do not want to do a subdivision at all.
I mean, there are CC&Rs or there aren't. And they're at the state level. So if they're there, they're there. They're not
Our
there.
clerk's office could not produce them for us
Right.
in 19 or 20. Because there was another individual that wanted to subdivide in that subdivision. And he even agreed that there weren't any covenants.
Here's the citation. It is section 1302.2 that states that consistent with the land use code, mind if I read this first, is that okay? Consistent with the land use code, which states that permit applications that violate properly recorded subdivision or planned unit development covenants shall not be approved without the signatory consent of all lot owners within the subdivision.
Okay, I'm asking where the CC&Rs.
Where was it
where are
recorded?
they at? That's what I want to know.
In the deed.
Nope.
Yeah.
Where was
Mike,
it?
Mike, that's enough.
I have some
That's
deeds
enough.
here that have
Okay.
that language highlighted. I don't know if they're specifically the Lewis's deeds, but they pertain to 3 different properties within Summit Lake West Unit 2.
John has the Lewis's.
All right, that's probably enough.
I believe I do have 1 or 2 public comments to read. From Boca Chipman, address, which I believe the name is Pam Chipman, 36320 Road Inn. Comment on the public hearing on application submitted by Edward and Betty Lewis on property at 13301 Road 35.9 Mancus. This particular property had already been subdivided at least a couple of times prior to them purchasing this property. This has taken the original 40 acres and become 4 smaller acreages, 6, 7.1, 11.2, and there's 13.5. They have already installed a single-wide trailer several years ago without any input from neighbors in the section of Summit Lake West. Now they want to add another home on the acreage, and as of this date have done so. This is in complete violation of the original intent of the developer of this subdivision.
It has to be.
It is clear that the intent was for this portion of Summit Lake West Unit 2 is for the acreage to be 40 acres. Lewis property, whether officially subdivided or not, is functionally subdivided into 3 households on 13.5 acres. Their deed, as most of ours is in this unit, has a protective covenant which states said conveyance subject to the following protective covenants agreed to by second parties. Said property shall be used for 1-family residences only, and no trailer homes shall be allowed on the property as permanent residences, except for double-wide and modular homes, and said land shall not be used for manufacturing or industrial purposes. Since our deed is a legal document and the covenants apply to the property itself, their limitations are legally binding for anybody, just as a legal description of our properties. So how would the Planning and Zoning Committee allow this to happen with this in place? It is a dangerous precedent for the rest of us who have purchased with the assurance of this legal document. I oppose this from happening. It increases the density of the population and traffic in this section of the subdivision, which was not the intent of the original planning of this area. Please consider this and support instead the protective covenant. To add to my previous comment on the PUD application submitted by the Lewises, I'm also looking at the land use code. I'm not seeing that they have followed the code in a couple of ways. The application does not include protective covenants that are included on their deed. They have added their trailer already on their lot and ready to set it, even though the meeting is yet to happen. This is zoned as AREH, which identifies it as an existing subdivision, and shouldn't that also qualify it to follow said subdivision deed protective covenants, which absolutely says no trailers, and now they have 2. 3106.5 A states that residential uses, primary, single-family residences, or 1 mobile or modular home. 3310.2 appears to support the existing protective covenants, and that this request violates said covenants. Thank you for your consideration regarding the PUD for the Lewises. And I have one more. This one is from Rebecca Seifer at 36320 Road Inn, Mancus. I'm writing in response to a public notice posted regarding the proposed building of a 3rd home at the property located on the west side of County Road 35.9, owned by Ed and Betty Lewis. I'm unable to attend the May 12th meeting, but would like to share a major concern regarding the proposal. I fear this additional home will add even heavier congestion to the congestion already existing immediate to this area. Per the application for the proposed development, my home and property are located at 36320 Road Inn, parcel 37. My overwhelming concern is regarding egress in the event of fire. It is well known this area of Summit Ridge adjoining BLM to the south is at high risk for wildfire. I cannot overstate my concern regarding evacuation in the event of wildfire. Currently, Road N is gated and dead ends at parcel 29 owned by Brasher, leaving no exit to the east, northeast. The only way for us to exit is by returning west on Road N and exiting via 35.9 to Highway 184. Depending on weather and road conditions, the option of 35.6 may or may not be available. Likewise, the option of 35.6 may or may not be available based on a given fire situation. Recently, a parking lot for the public access to BLM has been located just above the corner of Road N and 35.6, creating additional traffic. Admittedly, this brings with it an increased fire risk as an unfortunate byproduct of having additional people accessing and using BLM at the above location. With regard to the parcel owned by the Lewises, there is currently and consistently 6 to 7 vehicles as property. Additionally, there are consistently another 6 to 7 vehicles on the property immediately north of the Lewises. There are also a variety of tow, behind work, and recreational trailers along with some equipment at both locations. My overwhelming concern is our ability to exit quickly and safely in the event of wildfire. Considering the residents in the 2 properties described above will of course need to get their vehicles, trailers, equipment out of harm's way. Additionally, overarching consideration must be given to the expedient and safe access to the most southern property is Summit Lake West 2 and BLM by emergency responders and their equipment. The road is narrow adjacent to the Lewis property and under some conditions is very close for 2 vehicles of any size to get by one another. I'm requesting P&Z consider overall fire evacuation plan. Most importantly, consideration of a second egress via extension of road into the north and east to allow evacuation of Road 37. I'd also ask there be consideration given the widening of all season maintenance of Road 35-9 from 184 back to N. Evacuating, we're running out of time. That's basically it. One of these deeds.
All right, if there's no other public comment, we'll bring it back to the commission for more discussion.
I'm going to go back to my original question. The proposal is for a 3rd mobile home, correct? Okay.
Yeah, correct, a 3rd residence.
A 3rd residence on the property. And that residence is there right now. So
From those pictures, it is.
So then we should be discussing it after the fact. And this is a question, as opposed to approving this, if it's already done.
I don't know if it's fully hooked up or not. I guess you guys could answer that.
I think the house guys hooked up the sewer yesterday, but the sewer is not done. There's no actual septic system.
I don't see how we can approve this without knowing exactly what the situation is. We're taking somebody's word for what's there. Somebody from the county needs to go look because they've been told what's supposed to happen. And they're in the process of doing things that they shouldn't be doing until they got approval, so far as I'm concerned.
That's my main concern here, is that the instruction was given to not set the building, skirting very clearly on that. That goes against directly what was instructed.
Skirting wasn't even supposed to go on there, so that was just the house people wanting to get their part done so they could get out, so I didn't even know what was going on there, so it's on there.
And that's, I mean, whether it's a permanent foundation or skirting, that's what it's gonna be, right? That is set. That's a concern, in my mind. Because that's not what was supposed to happen. There's a process to this.
That's probably either our bad or communication bad. I was under the impression that we could set the house, nobody could move in until this was done.
You made it very clear, Don, that you gave no indication
That would be.
that this was gonna be approved.
That would, oh, no, I didn't. The discussion they had was with Jane as far as having it delivered, but not connecting it. No, we can't even approve it, so how would I say it's gonna be approved? You guys make recommendations.
Right.
You don't make approvals or denials. I guess if it's got a septic system, that would have to be inspected anyway.
Well, there's not a permit pulled, you said, right?
No, there has not.
That's an issue as well.
Nobody contacted the health department.
'Cause
So
the
I don't
road-
know if there's an engineer's design or not.
And road impact fees haven't been paid then?
Well, that gets to a tricky point because it's been there for.
But a permit for,
The permit, right,
right, wouldn't that apply to road impact fees as well?
for that particular residence, correct. And I don't know what septic was there or not before, so now apparently there's a new one, so. That one didn't have a permit pulled on it, so I don't know, did you have an engineer design it?
No, it's just beat to my camper for now, because I knew I had to expand it to satisfy my house.
Yeah, all septic permits have, or all septic systems have to be designed by a septic engineer, and an inspection and an application pulled from the health department. It's been that way since 2009, when that was adopted.
And a receipt for road impact fees has to be paid in order to get the permit, right? In order to pay the permit for the, septic. Is that not correct?
Yeah, we run those concurrently, or.
Right, right.
The main thing is that we have to be contacted so that we know fees are owed. We'll let them go ahead and pull the septic application, but with that goes the engineer's design.
Right.
Because the health department does not, they inspect it per the design. So they have to have a design to go by.
Right.
But typically, the engineers do their own inspections and sign off on them. So it's completely buried now?
Yeah, I got pictures of everything, so. But the whole field's not installed. It's will have to be expanded anyway to.
Just the tanks in the ground now? So they could still go get a septic permit and get it engineered, and that part could go.
I can get it engineered, I can get it finished and inspected.
Yeah, that could all be done, but
Right.
the covenant question, I mean, there's nothing recorded with the state. These deeds, these people have signed these deeds and have agreed to what's on the deed. These deeds aren't their deed.
Right, I mean, we check for subdivision covenants, we don't check all the deeds and stuff, that's way
Right.
beyond government.
So does a covenant supersede a deed?
You're going in the legal realm there, I don't know.
No, the deed would be.
The deed would supersede.
Right, yeah, 'cause you can have deed restrictions on a single piece of property, can only have 5 chickens, and the next guy can have 10.
Right, but
Deed will hold.
And that's what these are, we got handed as deeds.
Yeah.
so the
But again,
deed is, the deed is not
that's illegal.
recorded with the county, or, the deed restrictions are not recorded with the state, apparently.
Not that they could provide for us.
And they might be binding, but this is not their deed.
Right.
That's right.
So we don't know what that is.
We don't know what their deed says.
They have to be a separate entity.
I don't know, I can't answer those questions.
Yeah, that's more, this maybe is something for
That's
our
a-
county attorney to visit
Mhm.
with the commissioners about.
Yeah, I think we need to table this. Either that or, if we approve, that's gonna be the go-ahead for them to keep on working.
No, because we're not
I know,
approving them.
these particular people have already gone ahead and done work without approval.
Well, approve or deny, they can still go right to the commissioners, and the
commissioners.
commissioners,
They make the decision.
They'll make that
So what we
decision.
can do is,
I mean-
we can make a motion to deny it to the commissioners. And then they can still go to the commissioners.
or to make a motion to approve it with the conditions that the septic system be permitted, designed, installed properly, and that the covenant question be cleaned up. Either way, it doesn't matter, whatever we say, it's gonna go to the commissioners and they can do what they want with it.
You are correct. If you recommend it for denial, they can still appeal to the commissioners to hear it.
Right, and they have-
If they want. I think they have 30 days to do that.
I would feel more comfortable that way, and then let them go to the commissioners.
Or you could continue it and they would have to, I guess, provide what they've done, what's there, get a septic permit. But, you know, if it's gonna be denied and it can't be there, then I don't know how much more you
Wouldn't
wanna.
put a lot of money into it until
I wouldn't move too forward on it.
All right, I don't think
And if there are covenants, we're not
continuation is.
enforcing them, the
Yeah,
Not a
the other
continuation.
members of the subdivision.
I'll check
have to
again with
enforce
the
it.
clerk's office, but, like I say, we have checked 2 or 3 times, not in the last 2 years, but
Too many variables that are out there.
21, 22.
Mhm.
But they could never produce those before for the subdivision. And I don't know about each deed and how all that fits into the whole equation.
Yeah, I don't
Forgive
need,
me, but I just want to say, we are told we have the book number and the page number for our covenants.
We can check that.
Why they can't be located, I don't know. Hope I'm not yelling out. Excuse me.
Like I said, I'll double check that.
I mean, we've got the book and page number for each deed, but. That's for each deed. Each deed, we don't have a book and page number for the covenants. We'd like
Yeah,
to
if you don't
have
mind,
that.
ma'am.
If you have that, we'd love to have it.
You can either, if you've got it now, or you can email it to me tomorrow.
Okay, because, yeah, that'd be fine.
Thank you. Fair enough.
All right, so what is our choice to,
I'll make a motion that we deny the proposed planned unit development for AR 1034 rezoning application submitted by Edward and Pat Lewis, and let them go to the commissioners.
Second.
2 seconds, Stan?
Stan did.
Did you second?
I second.
Do we have a second?
Stan Pierce. What we're doing is voting to deny it, deny approval to the commissioners, and then you guys will still be able to go to the commissioners, make your case, and maybe between now and then, you can take care of a few other things, and maybe with the book and page number, we can figure out if there's actually covenants. If we table it, instead of acting at all, then you'd be another month before you did anything. So, anyway, that's where we're at. Any more discussion? We'll call the vote.
Commissioner Russell?
Aye.
Commissioner Farian?
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce?
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Aye.
Motion carried, the vote was unanimous. Yeah, good luck with the commissioners, I'd say get more ducks in a row before you go there. Roll call. Next one's after the fact as well.
Nothing. Oh, yeah, it is.
That subdivision has been
There's
Oh, I know, Gentry's deal.
There's too many gifts.
They never
Well,
did.
and blatant disregard for what the county advised to do.
Oh.
Exactly.
Can we keep these? I guess, these are our copies?
Exactly. I mean, that's it. That's what it is. And the lack of permitting and payment of fees. I mean, everybody's gotta pay those fees, everybody's gotta. Yeah.
Did we do roll call?
All right. Oh, wait.
Let's finish this.
So we're on number 6. Commissioner Russell.
Here.
Commissioner Farian.
Here.
Commissioner Pierce. Here. Commissioner Hernandez.
Here.
Number 6, notice is hereby given, the Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding a proposed general plan unit development application submitted by Jonathan and Tegan Lewis on property located at 22812 Road G, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 8.73 acres, more or less, located south of Road G, west of Road 23, situated in Section 8, Township 35 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes, it was.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors submitted?
Yes.
And the sign was posted.
Yes.
Would the applicants like to come up, please? And Planning Department findings.
So the Lewises are proposing, they've got several small cabin rentals on their property. They did not go through the process to be permitted for them. Currently, the water is available to the main house, but not necessarily a large enough tap or another tap to operate all of the units on the facility. Empire Electric has power in the area, so that wouldn't be a problem. There's a 3-phase transformer right there, so that's available. Montezuma Water District 1, there's a tap there, but they are recommending if they're keeping all the units, that an additional water tap be purchased. The septic system Number 521 is a septic tank with a gray water system to the pond. From when this was done in the mid-70s. Any new connections or any new septic hook to it would require new septic systems. Nothing else has been permitted on the property.
There's one septic system on the property,
There's one for the main house,
and
but,
it's permitted.
correct.
And there's one 5/8 inch water tap serving the main house and the other 5.
That's what it is. It's 5/8.
Is it 5/8? Yeah, it says there's one tap and that another one would be required. Let's
One
see.
more 5/8 tap for the other 5 homes, the tiny homes.
I don't know what size, what
are,
would be required.
I serve on that water board. What are instructions to people, and you got a copy of this when you signed up for our water, states water district allows 2 residents per tap, per property. Each additional unit will require the purchase of a new water tap. So you would have to buy. How many units do you have there?
There was one small house in addition to the main house when we moved there, and we have 3 tiny homes on the property.
So you'd have to have 3 more taps. Under our rules. And you're welcome to come and talk to us, but that's what the rules say.
Can they buy one bigger size tap?
They could buy one bigger size tap. Might be cheaper. I would suggest you come and talk to the water board.
No weed plans required. I don't believe there's a fire mitigation plan required.
That's it.
That's pretty much it. They were planning on removing one of these, if I understood correctly. And they could relocate. I think you're pulling off the one by the barn.
Yes.
This one's pulling off, and they could relocate this one back over here to, I mean, they're gonna have to figure out water and septic and see what's gonna work, because obviously you can't use the pond anymore, and it's gonna have to flow or be pumped into a septic system.
Yeah, it'll have to be designed.
And I don't know what the terrain is. I mean, an engineer's gonna have to figure all that out for
Yeah.
location, percolation.
What's the current septic for the tiny homes, or what's
We have
being?
the tiny homes on the west side of the house are tied into our regular septic, and when we purchased the house, it did have septic with the small house on the east side of the property, so the tiny house on the north side is tied into that. On the seller's disclosure, it said that there was a septic, and that's what's there.
The health department didn't come up with anything else, so I'm not sure if there's a design, or
I don't know.
is that to a leach field?
There are leach fields.
That house on the east has been there for quite a while. The rest of the 3 are new in the last 2 or 3 years.
We did not realize that you had to come before and apply for these things, so we apologize for that. My husband is a disabled veteran, I'm a teacher, so when he was no longer able to work, we purchased these tiny homes to supplement our income. And so we didn't realize we needed to come before you, and I'm sorry we didn't read your water thing. We're not from Colorado, so your water laws are different from what we're used to.
Is every one of the tiny homes is hooked to some kind of septic or no?
Are they all on a tank, or do they all go to a leach field?
Or they go to the septic. I don't know how they're hooked up. We had, Sparks came out and did some of them.
Yeah, you'll have to get,
An inspection.
you'll probably end up with more septic systems and get an engineer to design them and talk to the Montezuma water, county water there.
Yeah, the septic engineer can work with you and figure out what the best plan is, because a lot of it depends on the terrain and.
Especially if you relocate that third one over there and have 3 units into that septic system, right? Did you not say that was the plan?
My husband's trying to sell that one.
Oh. So removing one altogether?
Yes.
These are all currently occupied.
We do Airbnb.
You have VRBO.
No, Airbnb. So it brings money to Montezuma County.
All right. Any more planning commission discussion before we turn it loose with the public?
Is this not again an after the fact?
It is after the fact.
This one is after the fact.
And it's stated in their application too.
Oh, okay, my mistake.
Sure, it was on, it's on the backside of the first page.
Gonna be a lot of conditions, I would think, the sewer and the water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna be the major conditions. All right, we'll open up to public comment. Would anyone from the public like to comment on this? Okay, we'll bring it back to the commission, and if there's no further discussion, I'd entertain a motion.
I think we have to consider condition of engineer approval of the septic systems, water tap.
Yeah, they have to come in compliance with the septic and the water.
Yeah. So I'll make a motion to recommend to the Board of the County Commissioners to approve a proposed general PUD development application submitted by Jonathan and Tegan Lewis based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area. Public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning. My conditions would be that an engineer approves reclamation of that septic system, and then purchase of the correct amount of taps required by the
Or
water.
size.
What's that?
Taps or size. They could
Yeah,
buy a
taps
bigger
taps
tap.
or size, based off of their requirements.
Can they continue operating? And they're illegal.
They're not supposed to be, no.
Yeah.
No, when I sent them the letter, I told them they're not supposed to be renting until it gets approved or reviewed or both.
You want to put that in your motion?
Yeah, and I think that's also a good condition to cease.
No rentals.
Yeah, cease rental of the property until those conditions are met. Because it may require a whole new septic system. So,
And again, this is a recommendation to the commissioners. You'll still go before them and they will have the final say.
I second it.
Okay. There's no further discussion. We'll call the vote, please.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Aye.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion carried. Vote was unanimous. Good luck.
I would say, make sure and look into that stuff before you go in front of the commissioners. Have that stuff.
Where can I find information about this and the commissioners meeting?
Don should have commissioner meeting information. The health department, their website has a list of engineers on there that you can utilize. And then you can reach out to the water district to meet with them.
You know where we are.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody need a break? Yes?
Water.
Okay. We'll take a short break now.
Yeah. We're just gonna take a short break.
This must be the one everyone's been waiting for. Just five minutes, 10 minutes, what, you need more? Okay,
Okay, 10 minutes. Back at 8:30.
okay.
sometimes we don't know what we're talking about.
You want net or gross?
You know, by and large, legal requirements,
Two?
by law, start at
2.6?
spread to the rest.
I promised when I came from California, when I went to the border, I would bring my crap with me. You stay there.
Some people try to do that, you know.
That's why I left that.
Oh, good.
Acres in that buffer easement. East
Some things are good.
west is 0.9.
Leechfield location.
Yeah, I know, Oh, it's on the other side.
Oh, this is for this is for the price.
We better go on. Don, you wanna? There's Spencer's here. You wanna call roll call again?
Get us turned back on here. Just like magic. IT must be running this. Thanks, IT. Commissioner Russell?
Here.
Commissioner Farian?
Here.
Commissioner Pierce?
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez?
Here.
All right, item 7. Notice is hereby given, Montezuma County Planning and Zoning Commission will hold a public hearing for the purpose of reviewing and determining recommendations to be made to the Board of County Commissioners regarding the proposed general planned unit development and AR 3-9 rezoning application submitted by Triple S Farms LLC, agent Ernie Manis, on property located at 26960 Road N, Cortez, Colorado, consisting of 589.19 acres, more or less, located south of Road N, west of Highway 145, situated in Section 12, Township 36 North, Range 16 West, New Mexico, Prime Meridian. This is a public hearing. Was the public notice published?
Yes.
Was evidence of letters to the adjoining neighbors submitted?
Yes.
And the sign was posted.
Correct.
Would the applicant like to come up? Spencer?
Hello.
Hi, Ernie? All right, and we are not going over the planning department
No,
findings
the only
again?
new information I have is CDOT would requested more information before they commented, and they didn't comment the first time on the original application.
Okay. There's no other new information.
Right, and I believe we gave Ernie 2 signs to post, and those are posted at the driveway locations for reference,
Okay,
since there's 2 separate driveways that would access the 4 lots.
and the adjoining neighbors that weren't notified last time or this time?
No, and the, one that was missed, has been corrected. There actually wasn't two. Let me find the
Right.
map. This resident right there, they border this property, not any of the other property.
Oh, I
So
see.
that's why they weren't on the list. But
Okay.
we sent them a packet anyway and explained to them, you know, that part of it, but.
Okay,
And we do have a new updated, plat, sketch map, that actually shows the buffer zone, and it actually increases the acreage of each lot by a little bit. I don't know if you wanna bring that up first, or,
sure.
so lot one now is, a net 1.6 acres. The remainder properties in County Road N. Lot two is a net 2 acres. Lot three is a net, 2.4 acres. The other properties in the right-of-way. Lot four is a net of 2 acres, and lot five is 2.2 acres. This buffer zone is depicted here on the south side of each of the lots.
How wide is that?
50 feet.
Thank you.
These were half-acre lots before?
They were, basically an acre and a half
Acre and a half.
before.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm. And I guess just to clarify for everybody, we know they're not 3-acre lots, with the PUD. They are proposing this size of lots. Previously was 1.5-acre lots. They don't have to be 3-acre lots. It's not a change of the land use code. It's just a planned unit development application that has always been in the code. And, so as far as public comment, we know it's not 3 acres, so we don't need to cover that it's not 3 acres, 10 or 15 times. We all get that and understand that. You may not agree with it, but we know it's not 3 acres, for each of these lots.
You guys like to add anything to this?
Nothing at this time.
Okay,
What are the dashed lines down the middle there?
easement.
That's an easement.
That's an easement.
Yeah, that's the MBI pressure irrigation line that's in that easement there.
I'm sorry again?
The MBI pressure irrigation line.
Here, okay.
Anything else from the commission at this time?
Was there a variance given for the last one that we did in this section on the unit Schmidt property?
Was there a what?
A variance given on that last one? On the Schmidt property when that was proposed?
I think that was a single lot development,
Okay.
single lot subdivision.
Right. This one, bringing up the Schmidt property,
I
has
see that.
the leach field here somewhere.
Yeah.
They did find a septic lid on the property here. So what they're looking at would be, well, it looks like it has been recorded, reception number there, a 60-foot leach field easement, and that's what's depicted there. That
Nice.
does exist on Lot 2, even though it's from the Schmidt property.
Which nobody knew about. And
I did.
you'll get it, your chance in a minute, Philip.
Yeah,
Huh?
It's disposed.
When the
Right, but nobody knew it when you bought the property. You didn't know there was a septic system there, did you?
I didn't realize that until right prior to closing, that there was a easement already recorded for that.
Oh, okay, there was already an easement. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Bring the page over.
Oh, sorry.
That's right, that's right.
I can't read.
Okay, the other
Hands
dash
like-
line is an access, 45-foot access dedicated easement, and that goes out to road end, correct?
Correct. So that's the proposed driveway that would access those three
For
lots.
lot 5.
Yes, it would access 3, 4, and 5.
3, 4, and 5. Okay.
Off
Got it.
that one access there.
Okay, 3, 4, and 5. Got it.
On that lot 2, Ernie, what's that distance from the arch to the, I mean, are there proposed house gonna be in the middle of that lot 2? Are there proposed houses going in?
No proposed houses at the moment, but yes, somewhere inside that lot would be a residence.
So what's that length across there? Across that panhandle, if you will, on lot 2?
Say from the angle point?
Yeah.
Monument?
Down here, is that?
200 feet.
Okay.
It'd be hard to get a lot in there, but if you went up where the text is, where it says 2 acres, there'd be plenty of room up there. But it's up to the landowner when they design their house, what they do.
And you're not proposing any different setback from property lines?
No.
Still would be the land use code of 30 feet?
Right. Now, if you go to the right and look at the existing barn, the barn is not on this property, but it's close to that line. And if you recommend we get a variance for that barn setback, we would.
Okay. That would be required.
Yeah.
But that doesn't come through P and Z.
Right.
Anything else? Stan?
Want me to quit moving that map, Stan? He's chasing a mouse.
I'm good.
All right, we will open it up to public comment. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes, and like Don said, we all know about the 3 acres already, so who would like to be first? Yeah, come on up. Name, address.
Hi, Debbie Rance, and my address is 26667 Road N, and I would be directly across from the driveway that you're going to lot 1 and 2, because I believe that Ernie had said that the road going into that subdivision is going to be right opposite my driveway. And my concern, same one as I had last month, I'm sorry, is there's an arch in that road and it's really dangerous. And they won't even pick up trash at my one driveway, it's circular. I've had to move it down and give them permission to pull into my driveway to pick up my dumpster. So if there's any way, if you guys do pass this, maybe if that road could be moved down a little bit more, down would be west, because that hill's crazy and that's where all the kids come, and there's drag racing on that road because it's the road with all the hills. So it starts, by the time, I know the speed limit's like 35, 40, but by the time they go past my house and Jean's house and Ron's house, they're going 50, 60 higher. So that's one issue. And then just one other thing. I know we're not supposed to bring up 3 acres, but all the other things we talked about today, they were 35 acres and they were all subdividing with small. This is 589 acres, so maybe you consider 3 when it's not like you have a lack of land that you can't make them a little bit bigger. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Hillary Makowicz. I live on Road 27.1, 11657. I'm going to say a couple points and then ask a couple questions. I personally have no objection to Triple S Farms LLC building homes on this land. I do object to the building of homes on lots less than 3 acres anywhere in the county. This is because the high impact application states that lots minimum size must meet the threshold of 3 acres. No mistake was made when the land was originally zoned. There's sufficient land elsewhere for higher density, lower 1.5 acre residential use. The fact that the applicant wants to develop specific piece of property is not enough to justify the zone change, since there is no need to rezone the land in the county or make a change to residential 3 acre threshold. A zone change seeking higher density, lower acre land use may be inconsistent with the statement in the application of the plan of Triple S Farms LLC submitted. If a proposed zone change is not consistent with the comprehensive plan, the application should be denied. The zone change will be inconsistent with surrounding uses. This should require Triple S Farms LLC to show the zone change will not result in property values going down or interfering with existing residential homes, which none of this was done. Triple S Farms also has not made a compelling argument for the greater good of why they should be able to circumvent this rule and granted a PUD. And why is this PUD in particular good for the public? And I also want to be recorded in minutes that last meeting, the neighbors were never given any documentation of this project. And now I see this new map, and I couldn't see this before today, and the neighbors were never given this. So was this resubmitted? Was it added? And why wasn't anyone else notified, even with this like new information? That's all.
Yeah, it was added today.
Okay, so then in the last meeting when we added it, or excuse me, like when you added, when you didn't submit the information to the neighbors, you know, how can you add something at the last minute and it's just fine? And also the whole PUD thing. Why is a PUD like a circumvention of the established rules? It seems like a tool that is used over and over again. I've heard PUD more times in my life tonight than I've ever heard before.
The premise is to put the residences combined in a corner so that you don't inhibit production on the agricultural land. So that's the design of it. That's the premise of it. If you were to take and put 3 acre lots, then you would be taking up 15 to 20 acres.
Hi, my name is Susan Kidd. I live at 12790 Highway 145. I've lived there since I was 10 years old. My question is one question. I live right at the 3 mile marker. I've had 3 people killed at the end of my driveway. Now there is a gate opening up into that big field where people are going down there, coming in and out and working in and out of there. I don't think that's an authorized driveway. I don't know that. Also, my concern is I come down County Road in every day. I turn on to 145 to go home. I have to make sure that I can't see anybody coming, so I have enough time in that turning lane to time it just right that nobody's going north towards Dolores to be able to not have to sit on that highway for very long without being rear-ended. And now I have a driveway right there, which I don't know where that all of a sudden showed up, but farm equipment, trucks going in and out of there, so that's another concern for me. So how did that happen along with this PUD? My dad subdivided his land for each one of us girls, and I'm sorry, we're mentioning the 3 acres, but it had to be 3 acres to do that. And so I don't understand how things are getting done. I thank you, Mr. Schmidt, for putting this in my mailbox. I would have never been notified, which I think that's something that the commissioners should look at. It's not just the people adjoining or adjacent that are affected by the decisions that are being made. And I said tonight, if I don't come here and voice my concerns, I can't complain. And I am complaining. This is a safety issue. When you add more houses onto that, you're adding more traffic to that corner. And I'm sorry, but I've seen 3 people die. I don't care to see any more. I don't oppose the subdivision. I think that acreage should be there, and there should be something done with CDOT on that driveway, directly across from mine, where 3 other houses use the same driveway. Thank you for listening to my concerns.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Spencer, is there an ag access off of the highway?
Yes, there is an ag access that's existed for 40 years, to my knowledge.
Right.
But I've never looked it up, but I think it would be close to that amount of time or longer.
Okay. I knew there was one somewhere along there, but I wasn't finding it very clearly with the map.
Here we go. My name's Ron Tucker. I live at 26641 County Road N. I'm here to give a little history lesson. I've lived out there for 40 years, and this is to remind people that just moved to the area or maybe forgot or weren't paying attention. In 1999, Walter Tell gave all that land to the LDS Church. They went in there, they built the church, they also put an infrastructure in from the middle of that property. So they got a 6-inch water main that goes in a block, down a block, in a block, down a block, in a block, and then angles over to the fire hydrant at the church. There's also electric right there inside their fence line, as well as gas. They have an infrastructure here, and they know they're going to develop it. We all know they're going to develop it, but yet they come up with this bogus application about unfarmable land when they've been farming it for 40 years that I've been watching. They farmed it last year, and they're farming it right now. I mean, they're playing this for fools, and I don't like it, and you all shouldn't like it either. Why don't you tell them bullshit on this application, fill out the plan for what they want to do, which is subdivide down along the highway. They can't get driveways in off of Road M. They can't get driveways off 145. They need their driveways to come in off of Road N. I mean, I've been waiting 20 years for this to happen, and now it's happening. But why come in here and bullshit us all? And
Would
just
you
try
please
to
watch
walk
your
over
language?
us?
There's not necessary in
Okay,
here.
bull crap us all. Is that okay?
Much better.
Okay.
It's a public
But we
comment.
are being played for fools, and you are too, and you should know it. So just say no. Just tell them, come in here. You're the Planning and Zoning Commission. I mean, let them show you their plan. They're not showing no plan. What they're trying to do is get a blank check to get in the door with 1.5 acre lots so they can subdivide this property down there. Plus, they are eliminating any adjacent property to them on Road N from across the road. I mean, come on, man. My grandkids would figure this out. So now they're going to put, okay, your job is zoning. What zoning stands for? To protect the landowners from inadequate or incompatible properties, right? Okay, these are all 3-acre plus rural places, mature trees, whatnot. Now you're going to let them put in these little tiny homes over there on the side of this field that we all get to look at now. They're not compatible with the area. Why would you even consider this? This is an insult to every taxpayer in Montezuma County. You're going against every standard you put black and white for the rest of us to follow. If I did something like this, the IRS would kick in my door and accuse me of tax evasion and money laundering. I mean, he gives it to the church, or they put the infrastructure in, he buys it back for $45,000. That's $76 an acre. Okay, fast forward. Now the church doesn't go up for sale. It gets moved from
All
one
right, Ron.
entity to another.
Your time's up.
My time might be up, but I'm not done. I'm just getting started.
I understand.
You should know it.
Hey.
Hello. My name's Ken Geiger. I live at 13753 Highway 145, so I'm about 0.6 of a mile up from N. I just want to say, I know we're not mentioning the 3 acres. What's real apparent from looking at the application and the land is there's portions of the property that is difficult to farm. Difficult because the water from the center pivots that were put in don't get to that part of the property. It was farmed last year. I know it's ready to be farmed this year. So we've the landowner has land that's difficult or expensive to farm, so I think he's saying, well, you know, if it wasn't for this land use code, I could put a bunch of property in there and maximize my profit off the land and not farm it. So all I'm saying is it doesn't fit the area, it doesn't fit the use, and I think it's an eyesore, and I hope that the commissioners do not approve it. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. Phil Schmidt, 26812 Road In. I'm right in the middle of the proposed PUD, and you know, I think approving this PUD is going to have severe adverse impacts on my property. As you can see, there's land right below my back porch, and I believe it was designed that way to prompt. You know, my wife and I make a great living. I believe it was, you know, prompted or put that way to extract cash. You know, we'll go down another road to settle that. But what I wanted to talk about tonight was the PUD application issues. Specifically, Mr. Haley, is it your signature on the PUD that says the application was meets all the submittal requirements?
You can read it.
So that's a yes. Okay, that
Very
wasn't
obvious.
hard. So specifically, your name's on it. Land Use Code 4201.2A, threshold standards may be modified to meet purposes of planned unit development, providing that adverse impacts can be mitigated. You approved this application. How is S Farms mitigating impacts through this application?
They are following the guidelines for planned unit development.
I would like to hear after my time's done where that is in the application. I don't see that anywhere. Second, in the same section, the clustering of development to preserve agricultural land. Is this a cluster?
Yes.
There's my property right in the middle of it. It's two pieces.
Right, so you're gonna have
That's not a
maybe
cluster.
possibly
I'm
5
gonna move on.
residences there.
Property boundaries are subject to parcel with dimensions and area calculations. Include locations of existing and proposed buildings. We don't see that. Or structures on the site. That's not there. This is not a good application. There's no definition in point 7, open space, and no build zones are defined within the application. That doesn't exist. So we just saw a new piece of artwork tonight. None of the landowners have seen that before. And on that portion, I have not had legal counsel to counter that. And I think we should continue this application at a minimum till next meeting. Also, we have septic problems in number 2, lot number 2 is defined, and number 3. I have a 60 by 384 Leechfield Easement that I found an excavator on top of 2 days ago. That's not okay. We have 2 main lane drain lines coming out of the west side of our house, and S Farms has already dug into that easement, planning on putting roads, other things, and irrigation infrastructure on top and through that easement. I don't want that dug up. That's not right. Other things. Anyways, I heard at the time, I would encourage you to continue it, and this is not a well-formed application, and I don't think it's right for the county. Thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Should I buy 3 more?
Okay.
All right.
My name is Christy Tucker, 26641 County Road N. I live across from, let's see, that would be lot number 1. Who wasn't notified? My name is not on the property owner list. Why is that? Unproductive land, this is new. Unproductive land has been farmed for 40 years. They farmed it last year, they took product off of it. It's being farmed this year. They're working it right now. The hate to say the 1.5 acres, why can they not make lot 1 and 2, one section, lot 3 and 4, one section, number 5, already indicated as a ranch hand house. They don't need to subdivide that. There is only one water tap left on Road N. Where are they gonna get their water? From their infrastructure on 145. There's no water taps on that. What they're wanting to do is get their foot in the door for 1.5 acre lots. They've already named it the LewisWalck PUD development. Kind of goes right there. They haven't even paid a full year's taxes on this land yet. And you're gonna approve this for 1.5 acres? Sorry, got a dry throat. It is a high traffic road. Lots of traffic, lots of commuters coming over that hill. And on their application, several errors on that. The land is being produced and farmed. There is an infrastructure on 145. Line number 7, Montezuma water. Service available for 5 additional users. There's only one water tap left. Okay, so the first notice that we received and the second notice, why are they different? And why is that not updated on the website? Why was this not updated on the website? Seems like they're trying to sneak something through here. Why is everything on their application marked no? What kind of housing is going to be built there? Mobile homes? I'm sorry, what does PUD mean? It means impact minimal traffic, conserve the value of the land, encouraging preservation of agricultural characteristics. Why can it not be farmed? It has been farmed. They're farming it because their side roll that they put in does not reach it. How's their side roll gonna reach that little spot right here? How are they gonna farm that? I mean, they haven't even paid a full year's taxes on the land yet, but now they're gonna subdivide it. This is bull. I think you guys should not approve it. I guess that's all I have to say.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Do you want to respond to any of that?
Should we just wait till they all?
Yeah. Gene, come on up.
I'm Gene Gustafson. I have property at 26681 County Road N. I have several concerns. The water service line, I know it's 2-inch. There's already 18 taps on it. Another thing that I seen was calls for a 45-foot minimum driveway easement. Now that raises a question to me. So a few years down the road, you're gonna say, oh no, we don't wanna farm this anymore. So we're just gonna make a 60-foot easement and start subdividing. Why not just go ahead and tell us you're gonna subdivide the whole 580 acres? Also, are these properties gonna be rental or are they gonna be owned?
Gene, you need to speak to us. They'll answer the questions after everyone's done.
Are they gonna be rented properties or are they gonna be owned?
Okay. After everyone's done, these guys will address all these questions.
Okay. And another concern, which everybody has, is the safety on Road N. I don't know how many times I've been honked at and almost run over. I've probably got the worst driveway on the whole street. But I guess that's something I have to live with.
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks.
Thanks.
We did not get any statement from Rob.
From who?
Rob, Road and Bridge.
No.
Okay.
I did meet with Rob on both driveways, and he looked at them and visually and walked them off to the top of the hill, and he said yes.
Okay.
And if we need to have that in writing, we will get it.
Okay. Probably wouldn't hurt, but.
Sure. But he's off, you know, he works 4 days, so he wasn't there today.
Okay. Anyone else? All right, we're gonna close public
Hang on,
comment.
I've got,
You got letters?
read a few.
Yeah.
Let me see, we'll start with this one. This is from Kristen Corbett, 25-920 Road P. My understanding is that the proposed PUD will consist of only 1.5 acre lots, roughly covering 10 acres. Again, I'm asking you to not support this PUD. Our county needs to enlarge the minimum acreage allowed, not shrink it to put money in the pockets of developers. Montezuma County is an ag-based county. We need to encourage larger tracts of land to support hobby farms and larger forms of farming and ranching. PUDs, i.e. subdivisions, do not embrace agriculture. They only bring negatives to our county, such as more crime, more traffic, more pollution, including trash, noise, and light pollution. Allowing smaller lot sizes is not beneficial for Montezuma County. That's not necessary. This isn't a football game for cheering. And this one does not have an address. Let me see. That's all on there.
That's it.
I think there's one more. Yeah, this one didn't include their address, so it won't go for public comment. They just had a concern over weeds.
Weeds.
Just for everybody in the whole area to be responsible for their weeds.
So that's it.
I believe so.
All right, would you guys like to respond to a few of those questions?
First off, it's a real concern is the driveway locations. And we did have Robbing Hart spend considerable time looking at the locations and watching cars, and he did say it are approved. He would approve a driveway location at both sites.
Did you guys hear that?
He was out there about 3 minutes, I watched.
Excuse me, ma'am, that is not necessary.
So you heard that.
It is to be said. I mean,
This is not a shout out,
why don't we have questions?
Oh,
because that's not how the public hearings are held.
Well, that's why I didn't give you all my investigation, because I know you're gonna pass it anyway, and I'll be waiting for the commission.
That's perfect, that's
Perfect.
fine, very good. Go ahead, Ernie.
okay,
Okay, we're talking about the driveways, but Rob did spend considerable time, get down on his knees and look, and yes, he would approve the driveway locations. We talked about the map. and why we have a map now and not just the aerial photography. And this is just a progression of the next phase of the survey documentation. And the next phase will have further dimensions and more information. Yes?
Can you talk into that microphone? Thank you. Just so everybody can
Okay.
hear you. There you go, perfect.
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. We had a comment about the driveways on 145. This road end does not impact 145, and on 145, there are excellent turn lanes into road N. I think there's 5 lanes across that highway at that point, and that'd be one of the safest intersections on that highway from Cortez to Dolores. Mr. Tucker, Mr. Gardner says it's not adjacent to the 145 and doesn't use the area correctly, but I think that this is Roth Road in and it does fit the development. We talked about the use of the land, how it was not productive, and I don't know that we ever said it was not productive. What was stated is that it's cost prohibitive to use side rolls, handset pipes on this area where the center pivots don't reach. And to get the highest and best use, the center pivots that are expensive are being used for the rest of the land. Ms. Tucker was talking about the water source, Montezuma Water Company. We have contacted Montezuma Water Company about putting an extension on the water line, and if it's approved, of course, we're going to have to extend the water line to serve these lots with a new water line. Housing type, I'm going to let Spencer talk about that. Gene Gustafson says there's a 2-inch water line, but we're going to improve the water line, put a new water line in. The driveway width, the 45 feet, I think is acceptable to the fire department. If they want additional width, we can give them to them. But this is up to the fire department to enter into this conversation on the width of the road. But 45 feet wide for to access the single lots, I don't see a problem with, but that's up to the commissioners and the fire department. Okay, I think I've addressed.
As far as the use of the lots, that'll obviously be up to the buyers, but with all these lots being priced over 100,000, I doubt that anyone's going to be putting a mobile home on them. And there are no future plans for developing all of the acreage. The center pivots alone and the work we've done over the last year have exceeded $800,000, so it doesn't make sense that I'm going to jerk those out and start putting in homes. I've farmed all my life. I have 3 other farms of another 240 acres in addition to this 589. And part of the reason I bought the property was to keep it agricultural. Anyone could ask Keenan or Tell how many times he's had this under contract in the last 25 years and how that's fell out of contract every time, because there's 100 acres in the middle of the farm that has a easement from the FAA to where nothing can be built within that 100 acres. So even if I wanted to, there's 100 acres I couldn't develop. And I think my 40 plus years of farming probably demonstrates what my intent is. Not to say that I wouldn't ever develop some other lots in the corners around the other pivots, but of the 335 acres that are between road N and M, 330, or excuse me, just over 300 of those are all under the pivots. So there's 35 acres that, you know, in all the different corners over time, if it made any sense, but sure not going to do more than these 5 till I see how they move, and if they do good, if not, I'm not too concerned about that either.
Seems like if you were gonna plan on develop all of it, you wouldn't have asked for a 45-foot, or you put in a 45-foot access.
Yes.
Right, for a major subdivision, it requires a minimum 60-foot easement. Also, to put mobile homes in there, you would have to apply for a mobile home PUD. It has to be stipulated.
Spencer, real quick, why go the route of PUD and not expand the size of each of those units?
Trying
you
to
address that?
create a return on investment, very much so. If I did the 3 acre, then I'd be down to 2 or 3 lots. So yes, I am looking at it from a financial perspective. If you will, it'll help supplement the farming. Not gonna exactly get rich on that, but it's something I love to do, and it pays the bills for it.
Okay, thank you.
The other reason that I think a PUD is good, not just here, but in much of the county, if you go look at all the 3 and 5 acre subdivisions that are in the county, you're hard pressed to find many lots where all 3 to 5 acres are green and clean. If you Google Earth, even the subdivision there Tells did across the street, you'll find out of those 5 acre lots, almost every one of them have 1.5 to 2 acres that are green and clean, and the rest are weeds or other things. So my intent is, I'm into aesthetics more than I should be as far as the time and energy we put into farming, and would like those lots around our farm to be also green and clean, and believe those smaller lots are more likely to be entirely maintained instead of only 1.5 acres maintained and 1.5 acres of it being weeds.
Are there covenants within the subdivision?
There will be, have not drafted those yet, but there'll be some degree of covenants with them, yes.
And then somebody asked if you were gonna rent them or the people would own them.
My intent is to sell those to individuals that, again, want to build a nice residential home. Maybe they want a horse in the pasture or something. I guess once I sell them, I have no control whether they rent them.
Yeah, but you're not building them to rent to people.
Correct. But again, at the 100 to 150,000 per lot, I don't think people are going to be buying those to put rentals on them.
I wouldn't
I think they're probably going to put nice residential homes on them.
Are you building the homes? Are
No.
you going to have the homes built?
I'm not planning on at this point. That could be something in the future if I decided to do a spec home. But if I can just sell all the lots, I'd prefer to do that.
Okay, I have a question for Don. If this is, the application, if this is correct, why do we not get to see the proposed buildings on the site and the lot lines with dimensions? I can understand the open space if there's no requirement for open space, but
Right, so
I can understand that.
you can define building envelopes, but you don't have to. You have to abide by the setbacks. They're not requiring any specific setbacks that don't meet the land use code.
Okay. But this specifically says that they'll show the boundary with dimensions and area calculations, including existing proposed buildings.
Include locations of existing and proposed buildings.
Yeah.
Right.
Which would, and contours, which would be a much more significant map, if you will, yeah.
So, yeah, the first step is the sketch map, which we started with, and now we have the survey map.
Right, it's the survey map.
final, but you don't have to define where exactly a house sits.
Okay.
Like on lot 2, obviously, they've identified where there's an easement there, you can't build on that easement.
Right.
You have to keep your setbacks from the property lines. And so basically you're looking at being in the middle of these lots in order, you know, depending on the size of your house to meet the setback requirements.
So
That's why I was making sure they weren't requesting shorter, setbacks than what the land use code requires.
Okay. And then those conditions then will be part of the ultimate project being permitted. Okay.
Correct.
I get it. I get it.
Okay. Anything else?
That's up to the chairman.
No, we're done with the public comment. Right. I would. That's enough. There's no more discussion. I'd entertain a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we recommend to the county commissioners to approve the proposed general plan unit development, AR 3-9, rezoning application submitted by Triple S Farms, LLC, Agent Ernie Manis, based on the following. The proposed use is in conformity with the code. The proposed use shall not generate any significant adverse impacts on other property in the area, and public utilities and services are available or can be made available to support uses consistent with the proposed zoning.
The conditions,
Do you have conditions?
yes.
You had a condition, did you? Let me look at my notes. Oh, that there's going to be covenants that'll be drafted? I had that, correct? That you're going to be drafted covenants for those, okay?
Yeah, they have to start with our minimum covenants.
Okay.
And then they can add to those.
That was
Those were the questions I had.
They'll have to have the
The
dimensions on their lot lines when they go to the commissioners.
Oh, right, yeah, that the articles of the PUD application will be done.
Yep.
Including the contours. I'm a big deal on contours, Ernie. Okay, second.
Stan Pierce, second. Any other discussion?
I do have a concern that it's gonna be further developed. Even though it's said it's not right now, that is a concern.
What's the concern?
That this property is going to be further developed, further subdivided. That is a concern of mine, which I'm afraid that we're opening the door to a lot more single lot developments in that area. Or 1 acre, less than 3 acre.
Mm-hmm.
I just want it to be said, I do think we are opening the door to that. I don't think a PUD should be a workaround for our 3 acre minimum.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's it.
We'll call the vote.
Commissioner Russell,
Aye.
Commissioner Farian,
Nay.
Commissioner Pierce,
Aye.
Commissioner Hernandez.
Aye.
Motion carried. The vote was 3-1. Good luck with the commissioners.
Okay.
She's a beauty, isn't she?
Yeah.
You want roll call now, or you wanna let them all leave?
Want what?
For additional discussion, roll call now or wait till they leave?
Oh, I don't care. Go- Additional,
We're good?
yeah, what do we have for additional discussion? The,
Only thing is running on YouTube.
yeah, what do you think about that?
Well, that's gonna be our discussion.
There is some additional discussion. Tonight's meeting was YouTubed.
Let me call the roll first, Mike.
Okay,
Commissioner Rosso,
here.
Commissioner Farian,
Here.
Commissioner Pierce,
Here.
Commissioner Hernandez. So the discussion is the county commissioners have requested that our meetings be on YouTube.
And we were tonight.
Say that again?
County
Okay.
commissioners have requested that all our P and Z meetings be
Oh, yeah,
on,
be
be on,
televised, yeah.
on YouTube.
And we were tonight. We
Yeah,
were
I
at
saw that.
YouTube tonight, yeah.
And I vetoed doing it on Zoom because we're not capable of knowing who's being let in and who's not and being hacked and all kinds of issues. Now, we do give a Zoom link to applicants so they can Zoom in.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're told to, email us a letter. The county attorney requested that we read the emailed letters in, because otherwise they don't get heard.
Right.
So we have, if they don't include their name and address, we have to respond to them, and they have to include their name and address so I can include it.
Right. Okay. I was gonna bring that up because it didn't make sense that,
Yeah.
you know, some of them did, some of them didn't.
Right, because we get
You
phone
know,
calls and
Georgia.
emails, and then if they, so yeah, for public comment, state statute requires name and address is required, so.
Okay.
We do the same on letters and emails. But I don't know your thoughts on YouTube. I don't know that you have a choice.
I will be using it next weekend because I will be in California next week.
Well, we can Zoom you in.
Yeah, Zoom me.
But, yeah, we don't take comment on YouTube. It's just so people can watch it, and, then it's able to be reviewed. So IT did get that set up.
The commissioners have that ability, where if you, as you are watching it on YouTube, then you can chime into Zach and he'll say yes. Not always, but sometimes.
I won't respond on the mic.
Right, you'll type it back, correct?
Yeah, they take comment on theirs, but this one-man show's got enough going on. So I don't know if you like it or not.
It's a directive.
That's
I'm indifferent.
the future moving forward anyway.
Yep.
Let's hear it, somebody.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Let's go.
Thanks, guys.
I've tried to get classes on you, on some of those, and it just, you can't get anything out of it.
Tuesday at 9 o'clock. It's on our, have you been to our main county webpage? No, just, if you just